Hello, this is Dr. Faust. Up in the mountains, in the forests, where I live. And I just had kind of a revelation come to me today. And I just wanted to bring that out. And I love nature. And nature is God, is the universe. And we need to respect it. Oh, so where does that leave us today? We're destroying the environment. That's clear. No matter how much, they're going to deny it. I mean, global warming is real. It's not just global warming either. Just one issue here. It's warming on top of poisoning. Now, latest thing, microplastics in our blood and our brain. Oh, great big experiment. Yeah, I remember when plastics first came in when I was a little kid. They were like cheap plastic toys. It is what's happening now with these UFO slash drone sightings on a massive scale in New Jersey and elsewhere, and West Coast too, which is nothing new. It's totally nothing new. Now, these drone swarms, as they call them, is sort of new. But if you go back and look at some of these paintings done in around the Renaissance time in Nuremberg, it's depicted a whole bunch of white lights above Nuremberg. And just, sort of a chaotic scene of all these. And also similar paintings that show like some kind of combat between, obviously, UFOs. I mean, they didn't have aircraft in 1430. So this is nothing new. Okay, let me explain why. Now, this is such an obvious thing when you get it. Okay, of what's going on. There people say, we don't know, what are they doing? What are they doing? Okay, well, that's part of the idea. That's part. They're thinking, they're playing 3D chess, and they understand our behavior just like we understand animal behavior. Well, at least some of us do. People like myself that studied animal behavior and worked with lots of different animals still do. So there's something to it. It's predictable. This is how you train animals based on their behavior and their reward system, their fear. Yeah. So I mean, we're talking about a bigger dog, is what we're talking about, and I I don't want to get into this too deep. I could go into some of the origins of the whole thing. But what I'm trying to get across right now is these drones over New Jersey and D.C. And there's been drones in the 50s over Washington, D.C. That's not new. They were also over L.A. But what they're trying to do, they're not going to do anything. They're just exposing themselves, and they know that's going to be enough. Just show up and just keep people in the dark, and they're building up these fears in their mind of what aliens might do. They don't have to even create the image because it's already with us from watching science fiction movies and stuff and Star Trek. And actually, I think there's something more to Star Trek. Somehow, there's something there that fits. But the point of it is, they know we need a change, and we need it now. We're on the edge of literally madmen controlling enough power, nuclear bombs, and ways to deliver them, and just insidious situations, where you could just literally pulverize the Earth, into it like looking like Mars. Yeah, and that's another story. But it's not like we haven't had nuclear war before on the Earth. But in any event, we were given a warning, or at least President Eisenhower was, of a promise, that if we ended nuclear war, nuclear development, that they would provide a free energy device and everything would be cool. But he turned him down because he's afraid of Russia. And there's more to it than Russia and the U.S. and China. There's people near the top that pull some of those, or all those strings. I mean, let's face it, trillions of dollars of military spending are going somewhere. The profits aren't, right? But not the U.S. taxpayer, because he's going to be paying for it. But the point of the matter is, you have all these things emerging, and if you look at the big picture, which I've been doing for at least 60 years, after I was personally had an experience that will make a believer of you when I was quite young, 3 or 4 years old. So I've been interested in the subject ever since. And the mission that we're sent on, apparently, is the only way I can interpret it. But what they're trying to do is, well, affect our behavior. In other words, they know we're going to freak out, and there's going to be sort of a panic and insecurity, and then something steps in, and but I'm going to say, don't worry now, so and so is going to take care of you. I'm not going to go there. There's dozens of possible outcomes. I'm not going to say I know. So I'll get down to the point where I'm not rambling and too many directions. It's a huge subject, but we're messing things up. Let me put it as simply as I can. We're messing things up. We're a bunch of crazy kids with an uncle with dementia that has control of atomic bombs. No, we have all the potential, not just with nuclear weapons, but with chemical weapons, and especially biological weapons. And believe me, they have them. The great powers. Definitely Russia. I mean, in other words, it's almost like demonic. That the world possesses, this level of toxic technology and ways of destroying each other many times over, and the entire ecosystem and planet. But it's not just that. It's like even the universe. See, it causes a rift in the time-space continuum or something. I can't get into that because I'm not into theoretical physics. But I am into biology and microbiology, and I can tell you that's certainly a big enough risk in itself. Of course, we have history behind plagues and how they seem to be used to annihilate one population so another one can become dominator. So I didn't want to go too, I said I wasn't going to get too deep into this. What's the point? They're trying to scare us into the truth, into seeing the truth. In other words, our world and our country is, we talk about faith-based and all this. Well, but it's really lie based. They'll tell you what they think you want to hear. See, it's like animal training and behavior, and that's it. And all these terms, gaslighting, and these are all psychological constructs. And believe me, the Russians study this for years. Putin was a KGB agent. They're dirty tricksters from the word go. Okay, and then we have the ability to pulverize them, and destroy the world. I mean, we got $1 billion like submarines full of nuclear missiles like parked right in the ocean next to Russia. Can annihilate him in 5 minutes. So we've come to that, from the stone axe and spear to what we're looking at today. Yeah, they talk about the Bronze Age and the Iron Age. It's all culminating into the Masters of Fire. Yeah, see. So end of the Kali Yuga. Well, but they're trying to wake us up, see, because we've been lied to and about the whole UFO phenomenon, and no, we're the big dog. That doesn't exist. That's swamp gas. There's nobody like more powerful than us. We're it. So don't worry. Just keep paying your taxes and shut up. Join the army. But so that's a big threat, and they've been keeping it secret, of course. Like crazy. I mean, really spending billions, a lot of resources just to cover up since 1947. Whoa, think about that. So, they had to come up with a theory for every UFO sighting, and people would accept it as long as the authority figure says it's just a reflection from layer inversion, and it's some kind of swamp gas, or the other one was the ball lightning, and then flares. So that is incredibly important to cover this up, see, and create the lie. That no, they can't travel here from other planets. It's too far. It's just a way long distance because of Einstein's theory of relativity. They're not going to make it. It's going to take 50 years. Well, maybe not. And maybe they're not even from other planets. We know also, at least I do, or I believe, based on evidence, scientific method, that there are civilizations that were discovered with the entrance to another world, an inner world, in Antarctica. And Admiral Perry, I think it was, I get them mixed up, those admirals, actually sent a convoy. He went there, and he got pushed out by a bunch of flying saucers, and they retreated with all their battleships and aircraft carrier and the whole 9 yards. And they retreated, and then it was like hush hush, hush hush, and then the admiral ends up meeting a unexpected end. I think maybe he was one that fell out of I'm not sure. I probably got that one wrong, but anyway, you never hear much more about him. So there's another civilization, that it's really a hard idea to grasp, but that's why they're masking the Antarctic snow patch and putting a snow patch over big areas that are green and soil. And the story of this Antarctic thing is something to look into. It's interesting. I won't get into it now. What I'm getting to say is they need to show themselves and really be passive. And they don't need to attack or do anything, see? But what this does is it just shows it's obvious, what's going on, and we've been lied to for all these years. See, and then all the researchers that are out there that are really into this whole thing can just start peeling the onion, right, unraveling the whole thing. And a lot of the knowledge is there, believe me. And it's just been how they've, lied. And then everything else just about is a lie, too. Well, they don't consider it a lie. It's just like marketing. It's like sales pitch. Yeah, it's a lie, but no, it's just marketing. It's good for you. It's good stuff. See, and so there's that picture. It's almost like when I was a little kid. Somehow, to me, I thought good is going to overcome evil someday. And I was born right after a period of extreme evil, for sure. Yeah. So, and then I made wars since then, and getting hooked into one myself. So, they're trying to turn us around to see the truth, that it is that good can overcome evil, and it does periodically. You have a cycle there where there's a praised dictator, or emperor, and it's horrible, and then eventually he gets overthrown, and things are good for a while, and then another maniacal narcissist pushes his way to the top and becomes the king, or whatever it is, whatever you want to call him. And then people try to get away from that. Now let's go to somewhere that's safe and get away from this insanity where they take your sons and into their military, and it's just a horrible melee. And so there's the melee, okay, the term melee. Now, we're back to Cliff High and his predictions on the WebBot thing back in 2009. And he talks about, after this interview with Trump and Joe Rogan, 38 days, something like that, there would be this sightings event. And then there's going to be a melee at some point in there, which is like, the medieval fight of two forces just going at it in a crazy, bloody mess. Oh, I am getting deep. But it gets even more complicated because there's different folks involved in all this. See, you have the terrestrials and the extraterrestrials going at it. It's not cut and dry, not a simple. But bottom line is truth. It's about moving to another level of consciousness, getting to that next point. And of course, the Hopis see this as the sorting, where people are sorted out according to some criteria, which that's another thing I can talk about later. But so the people have to make the change. In other words, it's just like Star Trek. The Federation of Planets can't intervene. They have it's part of their charter, So Captain Kirk couldn't really, come in and change the government or do things. Okay, it's true. See, so they really can't or won't, but they will shut down any nuclear facility or prevent any launch. And okay, I guess that's the up part of the story. They'll protect it. They're not going to let it happen. Good news. Okay. It's a good news. Uh, so, yeah. So I'm not particularly worried about that. Of course, again, I'm just theorizing, really. I mean, they didn't come and tell me this. I don't know. I'm guessing. This is just theory. This is like based on some facts, but it's not facts. So they want to turn us around, to go towards the light, the truth, And all through history, you had bad guys, right? Emperors and all these crazy nut cases. But you also have these guru people that can have more power. They're running from a different level of spiritual power, just like how Buddhism spread to China, or a Buddhist practitioner from India goes to China, and the emperor there is this cruel, a conqueror and just an incredible despot, and somehow he gets converted. He sees a light because of this Buddhist practitioner who came there. It's an incredible story. And then, of course, then it moved on, and another person who spread it to Japan. Okay, that's an interesting story too. But in other words, Buddhism offers is not a religion. It's a way of life, a way of thinking. See, so it's about compassion and karma and all these good things. Like you're not going to be in trouble when you go to like a Buddhist country, right? Where there's not a lot of bad things going on, but there's still people. Okay, but yeah, people can be good. They can live without killing each other. I mean, I've been around like the Amish, the Hutterites, some of these other groups. And hey, we should be so lucky. So people can be good, but it's all about how they're influenced. So now they're trying to, the mass media, I'm hoping, again, it's all a theory, that they're trying to turn us around to the truth by exposing lies, by starting to unravel the whole huge tangle of lies, threads of lies, where the president, they document how many lies. I mean, what is it up to, 35,000 or something? But I mean, is that like a badge of like a merit? Like, I told more lies than anybody? No. That just can't work. So that's what we're talking about. It's good versus evil. Simple as that. It's a cycle. You get a dictator, he just destroys the existing, and maybe you need to destroy the existing culture to rebuild it back. I hope not, but we have a choice. And so we'll just see what happens, because it is more complex than just us being good and changing things. But that's part of it. And they don't want to take over the planet and do all the stuff they do in movies, death rays and blowing stuff up. No, that's absolutely zero value to them. But they want to keep this planet in one piece, yeah, and just keep experimenting with animals, which is what they're doing. It's just breeding. It's like a farm, but more fun, more like a zoo. You can be very creative and fill ecological niches and create, beautiful, wonderful things and intricate ecosystems with animals that fill each niche. It's just something you have to experience. Bottom line, yes. It's about experience. But I'm not going to get into all that. What I'm saying is, these are real extra or terrestrial UFO, and I suspect they're coming from under the sea, but I suspect that they're actually terrestrial in this case. But I could be wrong because there's other players, and they do have gigantic motherships. So yeah, and the government knows about it. See, and that's why people say, well, why don't they shoot them down? That'd be the excuse. If we start, and they know that. If we start shooting them down, that gives them the excuse. See, okay, oh, well, you shot first, okay? And it's happened before. Back in the 50s and 60s, when they sent, Sabre jets after them, UFOs, and somebody fired on him, and they just disintegrated him. So they gave up on that, trying that. So yeah, you're not going to be shooting them down and there's consequences to that. Like when they tried to shoot them down in it was called the Battle of Los Angeles back in 1944 or 43, where there was huge UFOs over L.A. and they put searchlights on them and they started firing their artillery at it because they thought it was the Japanese, and it was recorded too. I've seen. So that's the Battle of L.A. And of course they didn't get it. They didn't hit it. I mean, they'd hit it, but nothing would happen, right? But lots of people got killed because the shells fell down in L.A. and killed people. So yeah, it's not a smart move to start shooting. They've already made that mistake, and they know that. So that's why they're not doing it. Because that's just, okay, well, see, according to our rules, so you started shooting first, and, wouldn't you guys do the same thing? Yeah, you would, yeah. So, in summary, they're here to expose themselves and start the process of going from what we're doing, which is destructive and cruel, selfish, and destructive to their world too, and try to turn that around and then turn us around. And of course that's where the alien hybridization program comes in. So they could do it easy or they could do it hard, but it's going to be, I hope, in my theory, and based on some information, that they're going to go easy. They're not in a hurry. See, like people say, well, how can they get here? It takes so long, so far. Maybe they have a lot of time on their hands. They're patient. They've been around. So all in all, there is going to be changes, and we're in that cycle. We're in a cycle, and they talk about it in Vedic terms, of the various cycles. Like we're in the Kali Yuga, which is the end, the destruction. Kali, destroy and create. Goddess, right? Or God, maybe I got that right, I don't know. But the point of it is, it's cycles, and a lot of cultures have the same story. And but here we go. It's your choice. Please don't believe me. Do your own research, and you got to figure it out yourself. That's part of it.